Good evening and welcome to this public hearing. My name is Anna Aponte. I am one of the managers in the Planning and Support Program of Georgia's EPD Air Protection Branch. Today, the Air Protection Branch is hosting this public hearing via Zoom. Again, Zoom is a free web conferencing platform that allows participation by phone. Today's date is Monday, August 29th, 2022. The time is now 6:05 p.m. The purpose of this hearing is to take comments on the proposed construction and operating permit for the Aurubis Richmond LLC facility in Augusta, Georgia. To provide background on the facility and the permitting action, the manager of the Stationary Source Permitting Program, Stephen Damaski, will now present some supporting information.
Good evening. We are here for the Aurubis Richmond LLC draft air permit, and this is the public hearing. My name is Stephen Damaski. I am the Stationary Source Permitting Program Manager. And we will go through a brief introduction why we are here. The Aurubis Richmond Air Quality Permit has been drafted, and we are in the public comment period for this draft permit. We wanted to do a short presentation on the draft permit. This is for the construction and operation of a new air source. And while EPD coordinates permitting actions between branches, this meeting only entails the draft air quality permit. So comments should be limited to the air quality permit when we do open it up for comments later. We will begin with a regulatory overview and process overview, and then discuss the emissions routing and control devices. And then I will open it up to presentation. I am not sharing my presentation, I'm sorry. I thought I had it. It is showing, but I apologize. Now I am sharing, and it says I'm sharing at the top of the screen. I apologize. Again, this is for the air quality permit. We're going to do a brief regulatory overview, a brief process overview, discuss how the emissions are being routed to the different control devices, and then take public comments. So the regulatory background: this is a secondary copper scrap recycling plant. There will be other metals recycled as well. And this facility is specifically for difficult to recycle materials that are not handled by other sources in the area. The primary regulation that this falls under is 40 CFR 60, subpart 6F, and that is for secondary copper smelters for new source hazardous air pollutant handling. So this regulation requires the facility to be a Title V permitted source, and they will be required to apply for a Title V permit within 12 months of beginning issuance. But it also means that they will be inspected a little bit more frequently. There will be more reporting requirements and added requirements with this permit than if they were just under the minor source permitting, which is the amount of emissions that they would fall under if they did not fall under this specific regulation. It also has specific PM limits for the bag houses that we will touch on later. So a brief description of the process overview. This is the recovery process consists of scrap pretreatment, smelting, and casting into ignits. Scrap material is delivered by trucks. It is unloaded into the handling area to open and covered piles. The pre-treatment of this material includes cutting, separating out material to ensure metals enter the processes with correct composition and size. Upon the completion of the material pre-processing and handling steps, there are several heating and melting processes that are used to recover the various valuable metals from different input materials. The final product is then cast into ignits of purified metal for sale. The slag is the leftover materials from the process that is granulated and stored for off-site shipment. So the basic flow is the inlet of the raw materials and the fluxes. They will store it in areas that are both walled off and open. They will sample sample the materials to make sure that it's analyzed in the correct makeup, gets fed into the mix. This is into the charge system. These are heaters, converter systems that are used to melt the system or melt the input material, and then it goes to another system for lead and tin, other metal block casting. There's breaks offs for lead and other alloys. As the material moves through this system, it's heated up, and these are the lines coming off are the ones that we're interested in this presentation. We're discussing the air emissions. There is some air emissions off of the initial area because of any from the crushing systems. The grinding can cause some PM emissions. These go to a bag house. The ones off of the converters go through a process gas cooling, bag house process gas, and then a scrubber before going to multiple stacks. As this is a fairly complicated system, this is a very simple diagram, but shows the basic flows of materials through to final products, and then also to the gases coming out the stacks and from the bag houses. We'll go into a little more detail on the discussion of each of these pieces. So again, as the material is heated, converted, and refined, emissions are off-gassed from the processes. Capture systems collect those gases and fumes from the vessels and transfer of the molten material system and sends these collected gases to control devices. The primary control devices for these emissions are post-combustors, so that raises the temperature of the gases in order to drive off volatile organic compounds. It also treats NOx through a selective non-catalytic reduction system within this combustor, and will also convert carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide to reduce carbon monoxide emissions. After the post-combustors, quench coolers quickly cool off the gas stream to prevent dioxin and furane formation, which tend to happen at the higher temperatures. After these coolers, they will be sent to scrubbers. These are to remove acids and particulate matter from the gas streams. And then finally, bag houses will take care of the particulate matter, including some hazardous air pollutants in these bag houses. The secondary bag houses will control emissions from the sampling building, the slag furnace, feed mix charging system, and the slag granulation. So these are just for PM emissions. They help to keep the emissions down in the minor source limit area. Then installation and operation and maintenance of a bag leak detection system is required on the bag houses used to comply with the particulate matter limit. So this is an added regulation from the 6F that requires them to be constantly checking to make sure there aren't any leaks in the bag houses, and maintains proper controls with all the PM. Additionally, there's active carbon injection systems for the secondary bag houses, but only when the raw material being fed to be able to remove mercury from these feeds. Operation of bin vents are required whenever the respective silos are being filled. Installation, maintenance, and operation of a continuous emission rate monitoring system will be measuring the NOx emissions from the source. And then they will also prepare and operate at all times according to a written plan for the selection, inspection, and pre-treatment of copper scrap to ensure that we're limiting the amount of extra emissions from the scrap material being brought in. The draft permit requirements limit the NOx, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compound emissions to less than 99 tons per year to avoid being subject to PSD requirements. This makes them a minor source for both Title V and PSD, but again, they're required to do a Title V because of the one condition, the subpart 6F. limit particulate matter from the baghouses to equal to or less than 0.02002 grains per dry cubic foot emissions. So that's the concentration rate from any of the baghouses need to be less than that amount, based again on the 6F regulation. Leak detection systems are required for all the baghouses, and then process emissions are captured and routed to air pollution control devices whenever the systems are in use. So the next step in this permitting process, we will be receiving verbal comments now and written comments through September 6th. We will evaluate those verbal and written public comments and respond to the public comments in writing in an addendum to the permit narrative. We will make changes to the draft permit as appropriate based on those comments. I will hand it back over to Anna Aponte.
Thank you, Mr. Damaski. This hearing was advertised by contacting individuals with a known interest using EPD's permitting public notice email subscriber list, and by posting this notice and associated materials onto EPD's public notice and draft permit websites. The public notice period began on July 29th, and the comment period continues through September 6th. Today's hearing is not for the purpose of answering questions or having discussion. This is a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed draft permit for Aurubis Richmond LLC. Your comments will become an official part of the EPD records within the narrative addendum of the permit. All comments made will be considered and addressed as part of the final permitting action. Any changes made to the permit based on the comments will also be included in the narrative. If you have any questions regarding this permitting action, please contact Stephen Damaski at steven.damaski@dnr.ga.gov. And we have a slide that contains his contact information. At today's hearing, we have participants who have joined us on the web conferencing platform, and I do not see anyone by phone. If you have joined this hearing on the Zoom web conference platform and would like to make a comment, we ask that you take a moment to raise your hand using the reactions menu at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or open the chat feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Once the chat dialog box is open on your screen, please indicate that you would like to make a comment. There is a welcome message with instructions for doing so in the chat dialog box. We will be saving the transcripts of the chat dialog box for our records. I will call out the names who have indicated that they'd like to make a comment. When I call out each name, I will unmute your connection so that you can make your comment. So that everyone has an opportunity to speak today, I ask that each commenter be as brief and concise as possible and limit comments to 3 minutes or less. To aid in this timekeeping, a 3-minute timer will appear on my screen once a commenter has begun. If all who have wished to make a comment have done so, and additional time is available, more time may be granted in 3-minute intervals to commenters who wish to make additional time to make additional comments. Please speak clearly so that others can hear you on the Zoom meeting and so that we can accurately capture your comments in our recording of this meeting. At this time, I will pause for a moment and allow you to indicate that you would like to make a comment, either by raising your hand in Zoom or by using the Zoom chat dialog box. I see that Representative Mark Newton has raised his hand and would like to make a comment. I will unmute your microphone and you can make your statements.
Good evening, Anna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
First off, I want to say I'm honored to represent the Augusta-Richmond County area and the Georgia House of Representatives, District 123. We've got some amazing natural resources. Air and water are clearly something that's crucial. I know I've worked with Ms. Donna Bonatavadis in the past on the Savannah River Basin and how important that is, and that ample clean water that we're blessed with. Want to make sure that continues. But I am here today to speak in favor of this Aurubis plant that's being located in our area, our wonderful area of Georgia. And there's 3 quick reasons I'll make. the current lower unemployment that we're blessed to see right this minute, we have a feeling it won't last. Most economists are not sure and believe we might even be going into a recession. Anyone who's dealt with unemployment knows the devastation that comes with that to families and communities. So I think it's crucial that we pay attention, and especially when a company is willing to bring 21st century high-paying jobs to our area. We know how crucial that can be. So that's number one. Second, many of these high-paying jobs in the electronics industries, which is a 21st century industry. And by the way, thank you for letting me testify. I'm in the emergency department working a night shift, and so I was able to break away with some coverage. But thank you. Many of those new jobs and many of those are requiring because of our need for electronics. If we ask everybody to raise their hand if they've had more than one phone in the last 10 or 15 years, more than one computer, we know that those are built at some place that has to have heat and supposedly a small amount of effort and metals that go into it. Those are so crucial for miniaturization. Even more than just those computers and cell phones that we all need and are such a part of life and bringing value to so many, we're trying to get cleaner vehicles on the road. Georgia's been the centerpiece of so many new announcements about electric vehicles and all those that support it, including batteries and other things. A big piece of this, I've read that an internal combustion car has about 40 pounds of copper in all the wiring, even with all the technology that's there. That'll be over 3 times as much when we have electric vehicles that are more common. And responsible planning really just requires us to make arrangements for what are we going to do with that if we don't want those rare metals, those heavy metals, the important metals like copper that are so recyclable. What are we going to do? Where are we going to take care of that to make sure we're good stewards of this new technology, new electric vehicles? We must have a way to take care of that, to save the value and in a responsible way to do it. And finally, when it comes to somebody who's responsible to do it, I've seen firsthand the responsibility shown by Aurubis. I was actually traveling with my youngest son who graduated from college and was able to actually on my own expense to visit Hamburg and the Aurubis factory that's about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles from the center of an almost 1 million person city. It's right in the middle. You can ride it. Most of the employees even ride a bike to work. It's so close to such a large population area. And for over 2 decades, now over 100 years they've been there, but for over 2 decades, they've had tight scrutiny on their smokestack emissions, which I believe is our air quality equivalent. And they have learned to live under that and even thrive under that, to be great neighbors in a city of 1 million people. So I look at this and say, this is exactly with the new EV industry coming to Georgia, all the support that's going to be there for the jobs our kids and grandkids are going to need. I think this is just, we should welcome an entity that's willing, with a track record as good as it is in the middle of Hamburg, Germany, to be a clean producer of something that's so crucial to our future, not just in Georgia, but in all of America. I'm proud to have them be a part of our Augusta, Richmond County family.
Thank you, Representative. I'm glad that you could join us.
Thank you.
Next, I have Sue Parr with the Augusta Metro Chamber. I will unmute your mic and you can make your comment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sue Parr, and I am the president of the Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce. The chamber serves as the voice of business in our region, representing 1,200 members on matters of public policy and regulatory matters at the local, state, and federal levels. We appreciate the opportunity to provide short comments this evening. The Augusta Metro Chamber concurs with EPD's SIP application review, which recommends the proposed air quality permit for Aurubis Richmond LLC be issued. The application review concluded that this facility is a PSD NSR minor source and a true minor source with respect to emissions. And we understand that over the next year, they will be applying for Title V permitting as required due to the processing of copper. As part of the application review process, we believe that the EPD staff has diligently studied the proposed operations of this facility, as we have seen tonight, and how it will manage its emissions. We believe the division has adequately addressed a variety of comments regarding the potential worsening of the air quality of our community with the most current empirical data available, concluding that there is no evidence to indicate that this project creates or exacerbates any health risk to the population. Over the last few months, the Chamber has had the opportunity to meet with the Aurubis leadership, including its Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Roland Hirings, and many members of its senior leadership team. In every instance, we have found them to be very open and direct about how they intend to operate this facility, the significant investment they are making to ensure its safe operation, the employee culture they will create, and how they will integrate as corporate citizens. In talking about how they will operate this facility in Augusta, they often make note of their facility in Hamburg, Germany, which Representative Newton mentioned, which is just 2 miles from the city center and in a population of nearly 2 million people. The Aurubis team gives us every reason to believe that they will be good stewards of our community for many years to come. The final comment I will make pertains to how proud we are as a business community to welcome the forward-thinking technology and innovation that Aurubis brings to our manufacturing base. While we often talk about the importance of developing a circular economy, Augusta now becomes home to a company driving that future. We are excited about the opportunity to support the mission of reducing electronic waste in global landfills and reducing the environmental impact of mining precious metals. We welcome a partner in our community that will support the supply chain of the electrification of vehicles and further reduce our carbon footprint. In conclusion, we agree with EPD's recommendation that Aurubis Richmond LLC be granted the proposed air quality permit. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Next, I have Garrett Johnson, who has indicated that he would like to make a comment. I will unmute your mic and you can make your comment.
Thank you, Anna, and good evening. My name is Garnett Johnson, and I'm the mayor-elect for the city of Augusta. I also serve on the Georgia Department of Economic Development's Board of Directors, representing the 12th District of Georgia. I've had the opportunity to meet and talk with the top leadership at Aurubis and have learned quite a bit about their company culture based in Germany and their mission here in Augusta, Richmond County to build a new smelting facility. In short, I do not feel that there are any reasons to be concerned or alarmed about their environmental impact to our community as a result of their new $300 million multi-million recycling plant. While I understand and I have fielded some questions from the community about how this facility may impact the quality of our air and our water resources, I have received briefings from their production facility and design experts that have given me sound answers on considerable expertise and competencies to run this facility and to meet the requirements of permitting that they are requesting. I have encouraged them and will continue to help educate our community on the plant technology that will be in place to keep our community safe. The community is very proud to be a home of a facility like this that's truly a part of the circular economy and diverting electronic waste from our landfills and recycling precious metals instead of mining them in an important domestic goal as we develop and improve technologies. I can't be more humbled to ask that this permit that's been submitted for Aurubis Richmond LLC be approved without delay. Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett, for your comment. I have Brandon Garrett has indicated that he would like to make a comment. I will unmute your microphone and you can make your statements.
Thank you. My name is Brandon Garrett. I am the commissioner for the district where Aurubis is wanting to locate, and I'm here to state my support for this facility. This is an exciting time for Augusta, as we've all discussed with the changes in technology and the need for these types of manufacturing facilities to be located not only in Georgia, but in our area. Augusta stands to benefit greatly from this partnership with Aurubis, and we know that they have been great stewards where they have been located, including in Hamburg, and we're looking forward to that stewardship coming to our area. And we're hoping that as they come and implement this new technology, we're excited to see the minimal impacts that it's going to make on our environment here. So once again, my district is right here where they're located. My constituents are excited to see them just for the opportunities that it's going to provide them and their families in the future for job opportunities and education and things of that such. So once again, I'm in support of Aurubis and this EPD permit. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your comment. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment during these proceedings? Please raise your hand using the chat feature at the bottom of the reactions menu or making a statement in the chat box. Cal Rye from the Augusta Economic Development, do you want to make a comment? Okay. All right, your microphone is unmuted.
Thank you. My name is Cal Ray. I'm the president of the Development Authority here in Augusta, charged with economic development for the community. Part of what we do is pride ourselves on finding companies that are environmental friendly, have the environmental culture and the sustainability culture. With the growth of the EV industry in Georgia, with the growth of our industrial base, Aurubis is that perfect fit. We are pleased with what they've done in Hamburg, what they've done in Eastern Europe, and what they're going to do here in the US, especially here in Augusta. We've spent many months, we've spent the last 8 months in planning and development with this project. We see their goals, we see the welcomeness they brought EPD in to hold them accountable for what they're going to do for the environment. And with that, we put our unequivocal support, we put our unabated support behind the application for their permit, and strongly support EPD being the expert in this matter, looking at all of the science behind it and approving their permit so they can move forward within Augusta. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I will pause just for another moment to see if there's anyone else that would like to indicate that they would like to make a comment. Thank you for your attendance at this public hearing. We have now provided everyone who indicated that they wish to make a comment today an opportunity to speak. EPD will consider these and all other relevant comments received through the public comment period that officially ends at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September 6, 2022. Following a thorough evaluation of all comments, EPD will include the comments received and responses to those comments in the permit narrative in the permitting action. Thank you for your interest in protecting Georgia's environment and your participation in this permitting process. The time is now 6:34 p.m. and the hearing is now adjourned.